You know, this helmet here is a little bit like my iPhone. I can't stop staring at it. I want to talk about how my iPhone is probably ruining my life in slow motion. And I think this appeals or applies to a lot of you guys also, because my phone addiction reminds me of my alcohol addiction. It just creeps in on you slowly, 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 but it is just taking over everything. I think we should talk about this because I cannot be alone. It's a little bit tight. Ugh. According to my screen time, I spend between 3 and 5 hours on my phone every single day. And I think this is in the low end, or this is maybe it's average, because I do work a lot also on my phone in terms of writing very important messages on WhatsApp and Signal. When you consider that you're sleeping on average 8 hours a day, you have 16 hours awake, and you're spending a fourth of your living, breathing moments on this device that you grew up without. You know, I am a millennial, I am the proud generation who went from analog living to adopting the digital universe. We are the smartest people when it comes to using tech. Maybe Gen Z is better, although they only know how to use TikTok apps and Snapchat. So I would say millennials are the smartest people when it comes to tech. You can challenge me on that in the comments. But I am getting to a point where I just don't know what to do with my phone because it is taking up so much time and so much focus, so much energy that it's a problem. And because it has been normalized to use your phone all day, every day, just like, drinking alcohol is, nobody really talks about this. You know, children are being raised by an iPad today. It is insane. And I am so scared for the future when it comes to not just Gen Z growing up, but the Gen A, the Gen Alpha. Those people, ugh, I mean, that's scary, man, because they've never been to nature, maybe in a game on their iPad. I want to start a movement. And the movement is that we move away from the iPhone, from our phone in general. Just to give you an idea of my addiction to my phone, I cannot fall asleep without looking on my phone. So I would either fall asleep scrolling on X or on Instagram or listening to a podcast. And then I would wake up also at 3 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock, because I have this urge to check, did I get a very important email? It's insane. And I wake up, then when I actually wake up at 8 o'clock or 7:30 or whatever, I'll be scrolling sometimes for an hour, and I have this sad, miserable reminder of, oh, time's up, like the screen limit. And I'm like, scroll up, ignore limit for today. Whoopty, I can continue scrolling. They say no blue screens before going to bed, and I'm doing the opposite, And what I have felt is that my focus has become so fragmented that I can hardly watch a movie without watching my phone. I have a friend who shared this, that the movie writers, the show writers in Hollywood and whatever, Netflix shows, they are now writing scripts based on the fact that the viewer is also on their phone. So they're making basic story arches, repeating the messages in the video so they won't miss, the point of the story because they're on TikTok. This is scary, man. This is ridiculous. This is insane. This is really insane. And I remember, or I see how it has just slowly graduated to becoming more and more invasive in our life, because I've had an iPhone since the second version, like the 3GS or whatever, right after the one with the aluminium, the iPhone 1. This was in 2010. It took many years before the phone became like an obvious problem for me. And that's kind of like my alcohol addiction. For many years it was fine, but suddenly it takes over. And I think this applies to everyone, because nowadays you see, my father, my mother, everyone is addicted to their phones on an insane level. It's really crazy to see an 80-year-old checking notifications several times an hour. That's new, and it wasn't like that just a few years ago. I swear to God, it was not. So the phone is destroying, my life and our life, because it is just taking us away from the present moment. It is robbing us of true joy, and this is actually the main concern I have, is that, when you are on your phone all the time, you are engaging in sensational content. When you're scrolling on apps, you're seeing only the very best of the very best Instagram stories or TikTok stories or whatever. All of these stories, they have big emotions attached. So all of them, as you scroll, you are exhibiting a big emotion, because it's like something, it's scary, or it's beautiful, or it's, depressing. You're going through all these emotions every 10, 20, 30 seconds. This, I believe, is numbing us down, because we are not supposed to be draining our battery like this every living moment of the day. And I see how just resting and sitting and not doing anything has become excruciating. It's very difficult for me to just, sit here and breathe and stare at, this beautiful view. It's very hard for me. I'm painfully aware that I should, but I can't. And I think a lot of people, they're not even aware that that they can't. They don't even think about it, because this way of living has just become every day. And the problem is that this is a little bit like emptying your dopamine by doing, a lot of drugs. Like you're like you just like a toothpaste, you're just emptying it, and suddenly there's no toothpaste inside, but you keep squeezing it, and you're trying to get a little bit out, a little bit more out, but it's getting less and less. That's how it is in terms of using the phone, because you never allow yourself to rest. Like when you can't even go to sleep without the phone, then you can't rest ever. And the repercussions from this, I have learned myself, is that I am not enjoying life as much as I used to, because like when you are frying your brain, what they call brain rot, to this extent, you just don't have the surplus in your brain anymore. I truly believe that the short form content is one of the greatest threats to humanity these days. I just spent a few hours figuring out how I can make my smartphone a dumb phone. There is this company called the Balance Phone, and they make a stripped down Android phone where all you can do is that you can use WhatsApp, Google Maps, Spotify, but none of the addictive apps. So you can still have the phone and use it for the tool it is, because it is a very convenient tool. And this is also the dilemma with the phone, because we use it for a lot of great things also. But when it's not a tool, but an enslavement, ball and chains kind of thing, then it's a problem. And now I put on this, it's called Grayscale. So it's just black and white, the screen now. So the idea is that when you don't look at the colors, it's less dopamine enticing. So you'll just be less motivated to pick up the phone and look, because all the stories on Instagram, they have no photos, no colors. But I'll link it in the top comment with how you can make your phone dumb. But it's gotten to that point, where I have to somehow figure out how to live with my phone without the phone deciding my life for me. Me and Amalie, we talk about doing a silent retreat, where you go 3, 5, 10 days to some farmhouse and you have no distractions. You can't talk or anything, no phones, nothing. And you go through the process of purifying your mind by simply having no distraction. This is insanely painful, but also a spiritual journey for the people who do it. I haven't done it yet because I have so many excuses for why I can't do it. I cannot do a silent retreat in my own home. My home is a huge distraction, And but I want to do it. We want to do it. And I think that to reset your mind from this many year-long abuse of this phone here, we have to distance ourselves cold turkey and then get the clarity that we need to really see that while it's a great tool, it is certainly also sabotaging us to such an extent that we are actually destroying ourselves. We are not able to sit in communion and talk without, some of us have the fucking phone in our hands, People, they're having conversations while they're, looking on the phone. It's insane. It should not be like this. Yet this is the norm. This has been normalized. Parents today, they bring their kids to the restaurant and they just get an iPad in front of them and have fun. What are the repercussions of a 4-year-old who's growing up with an iPad, with an iPhone? Like, seriously. I believe that if you're so disconnected from nature already from birth, then what the fuck? I mean, how are you ever going to connect with nature? How are you ever going to just, breathe in and be present? It's not going to happen, and you will be numb. You will be without joy in life because you have been frying your dopamine storage since you were born. Now, this does sound negative, but guys, I am just, the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. What I'm going to do now is that I am going to just follow my own Dumbphone settings on this, so I will be as least motivated to use it as possible, and I'll start reading books. I have bought around 17 books the last 6 months, and the most I've read in any of those books is around 24 pages. That's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. I should read the books I buy instead of getting the dopamine hit from the idea of how much great information I will get from reading these books. I do this with many things. I also have a lot of instruments. I have drums, I have, piano, I have guitar, tongue drum. I have a lot of stuff, but I've never bothered to learn it because I can't focus. My focus is not there, and I believe it is because of this. So let's come together, guys. Let's figure out how to use our phone as a tool and not a self-sabotaging digital device. Well said, Jon. Well said. Is there more? I wrote down here, awareness is the first rebellion. Try a 24-hour detox. You'll feel withdrawal, then clarity. Cut notification, unfollow compulsions. Remember, the goal isn't to throw it away, it's to take back control. See you in the next one.